an audio tent
I don't
because
think I'm gonna think that.
yeah, but it's just when I was in addition and it's totally yeah, that's a cool thing about it. Stuff like that.
Like your chest or your neck is bolted, you're not able to.
Yeah. Also got a little Atari computer. It's a little Atari computer. The restaurant.
I mean, you're not dead, and you're coming
Yeah, I
out
got a
in
whole bunch
like
of games
solid.
for it.
For the most part.
It's like pretty cool. Someone made a device called FusionNet, which because reasons called it because it's called I said plug into the old Atari computer, you can actually connect to a modern Wi-Fi network.
Like your chest, like lower body, oh, yeah, that would. That's actually.
And so when they get.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, you're much better shape. Yeah.
Well, I was like, I'm saying traffic.
I had every single.
But for question purpose, I'm no question.
First, well, I tried some films, and I tried like that bad, and then it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So when I got that station.
Yeah, it's like, well, so I would recommend if you can stay.
So you would. The owner was that right?
Where that's where.
Yeah, so.
But then. It doesn't look.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah. Like, or is it gonna be, 60?
You go. So if I didn't mention, based on that, what heard him from him, then I think. Yeah.
We were different on that property.
Back to the-
I think like pretty walk through some- after about this stuff, like, it's fair.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. So it doesn't spec actually.
You're good.
Yeah, I would accept it. I like my so you can stay with this.
It's also where I replaced the engine in my little GMC in our apartment garage.
So.
I don't recommend that, it was not pleasant, but I did it.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
This is a.
The main issue is the 20+-year-old, some of the 20+-year-old hardware. So, especially someone like where it comes down to.
When they got stuff in the fence.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you just like drops out of the little window.
And he's just walks out.
He just drops it like a water bag. He's like, I just
You're like, bro, I will leave the war. And then why are you so tall?
And like.
It was one of the first, like,
Here we go. That's
the one that.
I went once game where I got enough sleep, but was not. So tired. Yeah.
Also, last night. It was a sign of my. Anytime I wake up in the apartment.
You go.
What do you guys do?
Oh, that's something.
I want to do that for her job. Yeah, like you don't have a client in her.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, it's different.
Not professional hospitality, I don't. Gotta do. The guest room set up for her to stay in.
2020, with the Halo, it's just like the first year, the first, second year back.
I'm exhausted. That's all.
And I started that after the war.
I never got time to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
The over summer I did a lot of things because I was bored until I had my. It's been, it was like, you're doing a lot of nothing, after a while, it's.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just.
feel like I'm just like, doing my time.
But I was sleeping. That means like, I was going like skating. I'm not sure if you were.
Just think about associating from everything.
Yeah, it's like the scale of my face. Like if you.
We used to have a guy, just someone I worked with, so he told us this is, and then he would lock up for like 30 seconds. So he might start talking again and be entirely, or he might walk away, but he would just see me in the middle of something, like a word, and then lock up. And I would always think he's saying that he blue screened. Because it was like he had the blue screen, yeah, he was in the middle of a task and it was like, yeah, it was being locked up. Nice dude, but it was an interesting really had going on. Like he was literally basically blue screen for about 30 seconds or so. And I guess his brain is getting task because if he started talking again, nothing to do with the previous topic, or he would just walk away.
Long time.
If you see that, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Yeah. It's based on good, but so, first thing, just change that. And then.
Well, I was diagnosed in December at 34.
Yeah.
There was never, it's just like, why would I never noticed? Trying to help me.
Yeah, my reason.
That would have been really great.
The reason I got tested, my mom had 80, and so my brother was 16, and I do it for.
I have the unit 10.
Okay, so like. Hyperversion.
Obviously none of them are good. I wish I had that instead. Because I was lazy all the time. Even federal. I started realizing McHugh would be like,
Oh, yeah.
and no matter how hard I tried to lock it on it, I'd realize about 15 minutes later that after 14 minutes, I've been thinking about it's like, is that normal? And ask somebody to be like, I thought when I got the name, like. And I brought it up to my wife, I gave him a and then I remember the psychologist, who did the diagnosis, your doctor, I know in your system, might prescribe drugs, but you need them, so she won't do it, they go to somebody else. And I don't know what the results or anything that he provided, man, so I went straight to Adderall. Actually, she went straight to my bed and talked about it, she said, but you're trying to come to me, but it's funny, it's like, okay, so whatever I've got going on, the doctor, he has had prescribed straight to so straight to the actual stimulant, because apparently there are some non-stimulant.
Like I knew my own function.
If you like job, that happened.
The thing is, I have to get on my desk and walk around a little bit, so that my extra back end. Like, it's when I want to go to school.
What's that work at center?
Stuff that would take a little while, for example, and it would take like 3 hours to do 15 minutes worth elements.
So and then you have multiple technical.
It was literally.
So then what would the big building then?
Smoke.
That's
why.
Yeah, this is because.
You get multiple engines.
When I was doing business calculus.
No,
Everything's sitting at the building.
You need to upload that. No, I can't explain one.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's made like it's way different. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because I get associated with like the nonsense. And loose bombs are like kind of.
Oh, we actually,
Yeah.
oh, but now. We provide. Vietnam, certainly.
Okay, thank you for waiting. So let me start. Okay. So before we dive deep to today I'm going to tell you what's the JS ES6, like some basic how to declare the variables, some functions. We'll go for like more details because in the class I didn't in the previous lab I didn't really tell you all these details, but I try to go through all the like necessary thing for you to work on your project. Okay, so maybe most of you have a question is like what two things are working together, or so I will spend some time in this moment and let you know like what we are doing. When we need to, when you look at some certain website or like open the browser, type the domain. So how it works, why we can see a website. So we of course need to have some like source code to generate a web page to us, right? So we have different language, and the one we use is called React.js. So when you using the React.js, create React app and then running a localhost 3000, that one is for our development. So when we modify the content, it will update, but that one is not for production use. So we are not like running the local host and then hosting the website like this. So we need to run a command, is called the npm build. So we will, based on what we implement, so it will kind of like make a package and generate a static files. So maybe the image you use, some JS file, CSS file, and then all those like source file. So that one will be the static file for a web page for your website. And this build file, everything like inside, you have to upload to your server. And what's the entry point? Most of our website entry point is called index.html. Okay. And if you are building a website using PHP, some of them they're called index.php. So also they can return a homepage. Then you ask like, can I use like entry point like index.js? Yes, if your JS will return a homepage. If you see like sometimes the tag, the function, the component returns like HTML, like a page, of course you can do that. But mainly for our project, it's like, okay, one part, if you look at the Nginx available, sites available, when we declare, we have the root, right? Root will be the folder. The folder is the web server go to grab all the static page, okay? So the entry point always the index. So once you try to run, like based on the example I say, you create right now, if you run the npm build, you will generate a new folder called a build folder, and in that folder, inside you will see right here, let me create a website, and then you should able to see I have a build. Okay. Let me see. Maybe I will delete. B6, let's see, right here. Okay, it's a build file, okay. So you will see right here, we have a build file, and then I have a called index.html. But of course, right now it's just empty and nothing. So after we build it, our entry point is always the index.html. And you need to upload all these files to your server. Okay, so it's this one is called web server, so it's ready. So your web page is ready. But for advanced level, we are not only generate a static page, because our contents always need to connect with our API server. Then what's the purpose of the API server? Is that we need to retrieve the data. Let's say if you need to log in, then I need to compare, like I will post the username or email and password to the server and match it, then return successfully. All right, okay, you can log in, or if you need to get a user profile, or you need to get some product information. So that's why I share the one called the Happy.js, that one with the path and route. So all this will be creating an API server to handle all our requests. Okay, so our web page, so you will see we have a function called use effect, right? You will remember use effect and fetch. So this one is like sending a request to our server to getting the data. So web page connect with the API server. And most of the time in practical, we always like host, it can be possible we have two different servers, like web server hosting my website, and then I have an API server holding running my API server, like this, the request. Or I can put them together. The example when I gave you is that you can put everything together, website, the static file, and running the API server. And for API server, you will see we are running on localhost 3000. You can change the host because it's your local host. And I don't care the actual location of this folder or the API server. The reason why is like once we running it, we are mainly listening to localhost 3000 by default. So no matter which folder you are putting, you can put it under same folder with your web page or in different folder. It doesn't matter. Once you execute it, it will be fine. Okay. So this is the API server, and then we are using the MongoDB, the NoSQL, right? So it always running the, if you look at the example code of my API server, right, let me see, where is it? I share to you API server. Okay, MongoDB. Okay. For the MongoDB, we are running on the host 27017. So that one is a specific port for us to connect to the MongoDB. For testing, we were using Mongo SH, the Mongo shell, to create the record or like maybe update anything. But if we need to using like another service connect to it, so they have specific port. So this one is called the 27017. So some of them, I see your sample code, you didn't put this one or you changed to 3000, then because for 3000 local host is used for Happy.js, our API server. Then this one is for our MongoDB. So just like be careful of this. And localhost just refer to your the device you are using right now. So the localhost, if you're hosting on the AWS EC2, will be the server. If I'm running locally, so it refer to my desktop. Okay, so it's called the localhost. And so far that means like we have three big parts of things like working together. So in a system design, just like this, we have the website, and then we have API server, and then we have the database. So every time when we load the page and then we want to fetch some data, we send a request to our API server. API server will connect to our database, MongoDB or like MySQL, and then find the records and return it. And then the API server will return the values, the result back to our website. And based on how do you handle it, and then maybe how do you display the result. That's like everything how it works. And for your project, you need to complete the whole part of it. So I will try to create, because I know you are not able to see it. Let me, because I need to check. You can try to form a group around maybe 2 to 3, because I know if you need to complete the website and API server, maybe database, maybe it's difficult or challenge. So you can like work together. So later just like put a representative and then you can run it on one server and host it. Okay. And as well as I say before, you can pick any topic or like for creating your website. So we can choose, maybe if you like sport, you can do a sport. If you want to like create your own like resume, yes, you can create it. And you feel free to choose, but after you form the group and just send me the topic that you choose, then it's okay. Because I try to break down the project as the 2-part, so I want to like check your progress. Probably best you, and probably will be the first submission will be, just let you know our first of like almost like first week of November. So will be a first one. So basically, if you have a rough, I'm not request you your website have a really like fancy design, but at least you should able to show me the structure of your website and able to connect to the API server. That means you make sure your API server is working, and at least you have like several methods like get and post and connect to your database, like at least the basic. And then for the second submission, that means your final project, you have to commit, like compute everything. Yeah, and generate the static, the build file, and then make it host it. Okay, that's what you need to do for your project. And let me try to. Okay, I will try to set the group, because I think you can see, but you cannot. But I will check this one later. So I try to let you sign up for the group and then post the topic. So hopefully I will set the time. So maybe next week you need to try to let you form the group and then send me the topic. Okay. Then you can start to work on it. Okay. And why not let's start our any question about the project? Like any question?
When will the project be due?
The project I break down at 2 parts. So first submission will be kind of like first week of November. Okay, so you just like need to follow a group, and you don't have to. The first one, I not request you saying, okay, complete everything. At least you can show me the page. You are able to fetch the data from the website, from the API server, and then connect with the database. Mainly the core is like for the first submission. That means that you are able to do this part.
Basically, that's the first part, like a rough general.
Yes.
Second part will be like a complete.
Finish everything. Yeah, second submission. Yeah.
Like general place, nice,
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, make it pretty, and then everything function, like all the page, they are working, able to get the data. Like if you have performed to submit the data, it should work. Like when you try to fetch the data, just not like the one I'm showing you, like just a list. Okay. You need.
We be good to go for the finals.
Any specific? See.
Not necessarily a specific date, but around when do you think our?
Like December?
No, I remember, but I don't want to make myself degrading too rush. But I know the last week, maybe December, what's the second week?
Sometime in December.
Yeah. So I remember it should be first week of the December. Let me see the last 10th. Okay, yeah. So maybe I set a deadline, maybe December 10th, or I would change. Yeah, if I possible, I would try to extend. If no, then I will try to make it just I think first week of December. Yeah. So you can submit. So you have one kind of like 1 month to do the part 1, and then 1 month for the part 2, like completing. So hopefully you do have enough time. Okay. So that's why I kind of like rushing to like complete everything. And then right now I go through the details. Maybe you look at my source code, maybe you don't know how to really implement. So right now I will go through like how to, about some syntax, what kind of things you can use. Okay. And except the deadline, and what else? Do you have any question? You're good? Okay, okay, yeah. But later I will tell you the structure, like what do we require to submit, like maybe in document, screenshot, or like source codes. Yeah. And I would recommend one thing is that you can as your personal profile, you're welcome to using a Git. So Git everything is more convenient. Sometimes you are like working on your local server and then push it, and then it will be better. Okay. And right here, just letting you know, for the JS, I think it's a 2015. So it comes out the ES6 generation. So actually after this, the syntax changed, like it's not really same as before, the JS.
Still accept the old syntax, or is it?
Still, we call the stuff from ES6, it still accepts some old syntax, but depends on the framework. Okay. If you read the one is the, let's say if you execute my sample code about my MongoDB API server, so it will pop out a red message. So it's use the unified topology is depreciating. Okay. So that one is letting you know, okay, for some version, like some modules or library, they will fade out some functions.
Just kind of highlighting, hey, you may have some future compatibility.
Yeah. So you need to like modify, or later if you need to like use this one, they integrate. Maybe they will they change the name with more like powerful, or like they change it as like one same function name with different parameter. They will handle it. Okay. So it's the package. So it's changing, always changing. The library always changing. That's why try to have a habit if you really want to like be a developer, knowing how to maybe this moment I tell you the library is doing this way. Maybe next week or like when you're working on it, it changed. I cannot guarantee like exactly the same. So try to when it failed, then try to look at the document and look at the version we are using right now. So they say, okay, right now we try to combine 3 functions together as one, and then you need to pass the parameter like this way. Then just follow the document. Okay. And if you're trying to using AI to help you, it may give you the old version, or like you need to sometimes to me, I don't
Put code in there and ask if it is compliant with the new specific standard. That may or may
you need to tell the AI like please use the certain standard or modify to certain way. I'm not for teaching it's recording, so like to me as a developer, yeah, for study, knowing how to use AI actually translate. It's okay. Like to me, I don't mind you use it, or like it, because like you need to pick up skills. Like even sometimes if you send it, even let the AI give you the solution. I know you sometimes you don't even how to use it. So I don't mind. It's just help you. It's more likely using Google. So to me, it's like how to find the resources and use it. So I don't mind you.
How do I accomplish this? Because then it'll lay out the steps and you can go in and follow
Yes.
along and verify if it does in fact work. But then also just, okay, well, I have this specific instruction laid out right in each step and tell me how to actually do it.
Yes,
It's
yes.
more valuable than simply what's the solution here.
Yeah. So
Because it'll tell you how to
actually setup is more complicated, like for your library, I don't know, maybe your Linux system, your Windows system, like not the same. So sometimes it works on yours, it doesn't work on mine, so I cannot forget. Yeah, sometimes yeah, okay.
Like some of the network stuff, like IP addresses and whatnot, I specifically, I gave it the question, I specifically asked, how do you accomplish this? And
Yeah.
at the bottom, it shows a solution, but if you scroll up just a little bit and hide it, you can follow through each step. And
Yeah,
do
you
it
think.
yourself, but with the instruction on how to do it.
Sometimes it doesn't work, yeah.
It's
Some,
laid out there.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to verify it,
yes.
because it could be wrong. But it could be valuable.
efficient.
It can
Yeah.
be valuable with, for like additional instructions sometimes.
And it's more important is that you look at the steps that you need to know, okay, once you work on more, you know, okay, actually why I need to do this step, or actually I can bypass this step.
And I've given it lines of code before, and like some
Yeah.
pre-done code I had, it asked, what does this line of code do?
Doing, yeah.
And it tells you, okay, well, if I want this sort of functionality, I can reuse this line of code.
Yeah. So in the class, I wish you learn this type of skill, like thinking, instead of like just like submit the assignment and then remember. To me, I'm kind of like working in that way, not really teaching. So like in more practical way to do it.
That big.
Mhm.
It's a tool people can use scrupulously or unscrupulously.
Yeah, that's right.
Just give me the answer, but if you can have it outlined, this is how you do it.
Mhm.
And you can see each individual step, but still do it yourself. You just
Mm-mm-mm.
have the instructions right there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is enlightening.
So I'm welcome like for feedback. If you like this style, you say no, just stick to the like regular traditional way. Teach me, let me do the assignment, answer that question, memory the definition. That yes.
Fan. So I have to, a lot of times I have to then see it at home as well, an additional like technical right in front of me. Right? Sit there and you go along.
Okay.
It can be a helpful tool with that stuff. It's just.
Okay.
You don't do like a straight up cheat. That doesn't help you.
Okay, so let's back to some keywords today. So let's think. First thing you will see a lot is about variable. So last time in the previous you will see we're using let. So for the let it's like it's declared called a block script variable. Okay. For the old style if you see a JavaScript it's called a var. So we are still taking this variable like the JavaScript, the Node.js. If you declare the variable using var, yes, it still work. But most of commonly, if you Google it, looking online, or maybe using them like different AI to generate, sometimes it will show you called the let. So for the let, it's allow us, I mean, is inside the block. So it can be, it's very important, it's called, can be reassign. So what's reassign? If you know the answer, okay. But then it's like within the block. So right here, I'll give you an example. Let's say I declare called let x equals to 10. So I put the condition and then just any so I let like x equals to 20 and then log. So the result will be 20. If I log it outside of the if condition, this block, x still equals to 10. So if you learn other language, we will learn the verbal, right? Like global or local verbal. So it's kind of the same idea. So if we declare like out of the scope, like our function, so if we're using let, so that one will be belongs to either like maybe global or local. Okay. But only one thing is like we can call reassign. Reassign, that means we can change the value. In this moment, even inside a scope, I declare the x equals to 20, I can assign a new value to it. I can assign like let's say I want to let x plus 10. It's still possible. Okay. And compare the one you will see pretty common in my sample code, all those code you will see is called a const. It's called constant. So this one is using the constant variable cannot be assigned, reassigned. So here's really the major and key difference. So also we need to like initialize at the time of declaration, and also it's a block, also a block scope. So really depends on. So it's the same. Let's say I will declare one called a constant pi. 3.14, right? So this one, if I want to assign a new value, let's say I want to put there 3.14159, we got an error. So we can't do that. So we can't assign a new value to a constant. So be careful, especially when you are working on your project, like writing some code. If you declare variable using const, and then you say, why I couldn't update my value? Here's the issue. So when you declare something, you are not going to update the value. Say I'm not reassign new value. Yes, you can use this one, but you're thinking yo we use it or accumulate adding some value on it, then using let or like inside the scope. Or of course, if you want, you can use var. So that one is the JavaScript. Like when you learn JavaScript, is the variable we are using. For Python, when you I forgot some. Using Python, we didn't need to declare the data. Yeah, just like put the name. So it will depends on the value assigned. And then it's the same idea. If you learn Python, it's the same idea because it will determine based on the value you assign. So we always say it is we create it as more like an object. So it depends on value comes in. So later we will see the comparison. Why we need to have 2 equal sign and 3 equal sign is the difference. And here's the same will be like the scope right here. If I declare like inside, so constant message is hello, inside is hello. So here's the 2 key keywords we are using a lot to create variable. Okay. Based on your situation, you can choose the one. And last time I talked about the arrow function. If you remember the arrow function, We have two ways to do it. Like one is a regular declare function name and then with bracket parameter or just pass it. And we have one single line. So you will see one single line constant at, and then with the parameter. So you see the equal sign and with the brackets right here. And then we pass the variable. So it depends on you, like you can have like 3 variables, 2, 4, whatever. And then with single line, just return will be A plus B. So with the arrow right here, it's showing, okay, it's the return value. Okay. Just same, the syntax equals to like return A plus B. Okay, if you know a syntax. And then when I add it, I pass it, here's the value. So this is a simple one. And then square, if I have single value, then I put the X and then X times X return. Okay, so it's a square. It's a square of your value. So square of 4 returns 4. Okay. But if we need to do multiple line, then you can add the curly bracket for adding multiple lines. Okay. And then if you need to specific like return a value, then you can put return. Okay, add the keyword return for the function. And right here, another one is called the destructing assignment. You may use it a lot. This one is for the values, like we call it unpacking the value from the object, this thing variable. So let's say I have a person, and then give it is like more like a object format. So I have a name and age, right? So when I try to call it unpacking, like destructing, so I can put the name and age. So I will automatically like grab the value like this. So the name goes to here and age goes to here. So assign. Okay. So you can get the value separately. Okay. So that's how can you get the variables items from here. So we have one more, like also the spread and rest operator. Last time I didn't really talk about this one. So this one is like 3 dot dot dot. So this one will be used like both the try to like get the rest of it. This one is more like complicated. So I have a sum. This function sum, and I will get this one maybe array will be the at least like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I pass it. And reduce is you can just ignore this one. I will talk about reduce later. But reduce the function is like first one is the variable. I will store the value and then pass the number. So pass 1, 2, and then save it to ACC. And then I will save the first variable ACC argument value to 0. Initialize it with 0. Okay. 0, and then every time I will add it. So this one I will just like adding it 1, 2, 3, 4, one by one. And I show you one more example right here. So sometimes you need to concatenate the array or sometimes handle it. Then how can you do that? So you can do it in this way. So let's say in the beginning nums, I have an array called 1, 2, 3. Okay. If I want to add it, but I don't want to like go through the like the for loop or like adding it, push it in one by one. How can you do that? Put the first one and then comma, and then get the rest of it. And then just comma 4. So, and then I can automatically, I will break down the array and get the single value and then concatenate together, just like pushing in. So you will see 1, 2, 3. If you don't do that, well, we can, if it's a variable, handle it. So for some, like depends on how you declare. If you don't put it in this way, if you're doing like this, it will be, I will enlarge like for you. Okay, it will look like this. Okay. Because like depends on how you declare, because it can be happen like in this way. It's like if you don't put it, then you will treat as an array inside array like this. Okay. So but when you change it with the spread operator, getting the rest of it, then it will like help you to combine. So it will get the value one by one, get the items, and then push it into the array. Okay, so here's the structure. So when you like detect why is some error, and maybe you didn't put it correctly. Okay.
Out of curiosity, I know obviously there's 1, 2, 3, and 0, and 4, say the simplicity. Does it automatically sort, or if you gave it additional values?
It won't sort automatically. You need to sort by yourself.
You add numbers, or put them in there in the order in which you have it represented.
Later, it keep the original order. Okay, so if the numbers right here, the number is 1, 2, 3, or is the original order is like 2, 1, 3, it's still 2, 1, 3. Okay. Okay, we'll keep it. Okay, and unless you, let's say I have this one called more numbers, like more numbers dot short, then you can short it. You need to pass the variable. I'm not yet talk about the shorting. Here's a slightly tricky because for shorting in Node.js here, they were shorting as a string. Okay, by default, if you don't pass the parameter, it will be a string. So if you pass it like a minus b, okay, you say what's a minus a? It's just like telling secret. So if you tell like this, just like it will shorting as a number. So from 1 to 10. If your b minus a will be is ascending, a minus b will be ascending, and if you put b minus a will be descending. But when I go to the shorting, I will let you know more. And then if you need to know, when we call the shorting, if you learn data structure, you know how many shorting algorithm? Heap, short, binary, short, divide, and conquer. All those are shorting. Okay, so this one is using the heap. So just let you know. So just extra information because we're talking about shorting. Okay, but for this one, when we just like concatenate, we don't care about the it won't help you to short the value. So okay, so you need to do it by your own. Okay, we just like putting the value, yeah, adding together. So this is the operator we are using. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. If you want to like combine all of them together, like let's say I have a first quarter, second quarter like this, and I have like 3 items in the array, I can do it like concatenate. If you don't put it the rest thing like this, then they will have a nested array. So it's 3 by 4, right? So it's we have 4 items right here, and then inside we have 3 items for this way. Okay. And when we talk about array, then we need to know how can we use those array or like go through the item one by one. Okay. This one is pretty common we are using, but we cannot modify content. So this one is called the for of loop. Okay. Let's say I have an array. So I'm using the for and then put the bracket. So here I use constant. So if I'm not going to change the value, I can use const. But if I need to modify the value and update it, then I need to change using let. So if you know the variable right now, right here. So here's the name. So you can put any name of is the array name. So you can say let right here, like let's say for let a of food. Okay. Console log and then a. So this one will have a same output. Okay. So this one is the variable I'm using to getting every item within the name. Okay. So it's how it looks like. Okay. Pretty easy. Then just a question. What's the regular? If I don't want to, because this one I cannot integrate with that index, like the item one by one. Then how can we do it? If you learn other language, I'm not so sure like others, if you want to know for loop, let's say I, and then do you know this syntax? Length, and then Because for different language, it has their own syntax or how it looks like for getting the length. Or some of them they're using the function, they passing a parameter like this, like length. Anybody know the idea of this one? What's the for loop of this one? Yeah, or like when you yes, yes.
I goes through the index of each element and the array and increases out.
Yes, yeah. Of course, you can still using this one. So really depends on the situation. So if you just need to go through the loop and get the data, the elements inside the loop, then you can stay with using the for of loop. Okay. But if you need to use the ID as something else, maybe this one is not allow you to handle those instructions.
So is this pretty much like just the Java version of like the base for loop?
Syntax like for of can be like for the JS EC6, ES6 JavaScript ES6 version. We can use it. Sometimes we have called a for in loop. Maybe Python not I forgot. Python, I think we do have one, right?
Basically just a range based for.
Like for, and then also we have same, but depends on keyword. We have like for of loop, also we have for in loop. But I didn't talk about that. So yeah.
Like every class is with every instructor.
Yeah.
It depends, but there's like 9 situations.
Yeah, it really depends on situation. I cannot, even to me when I using different language, also I confuse too. Because be careful, sometimes you say Java and JavaScript, they are not the same things. So even Java, we have like for and loop, and then we need to change it. Yeah, and then maybe if other language you need to read decay, let's say it's an integer. If you remember, like this is an integer and an I, and then you cannot really use the length. Maybe you need to save the length like can't, and then let's say the n like this way. So pretty similar, but just let you know we have like this for of loop you can use to iterate iteration for the array. Okay. And another one pretty common we will use is called a map. Once the function map dot map, that one you saw it before, but this one is kind of like for the caching. So for quicker, so we call it is const and a map. It's any name, variable name. So I just reuse map, new map. So it's the structure. So this one we said, so we will have the name and then the value. So the first one is the attribute also, or the variable names, and then the value. So we set it. So once you say we're using a function get, and then put the name, so we will get a return value. So the efficiency, like the big notation, always like O equal O1, big O1. Don't know what I'm talking about. What's big O1? If we have an array, let's say I have an array, always using n. So the big O notation will be always called n. But if we are using a map, then the always is big O1. Okay.
Because it's a key value pair, you can search based on the.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That's like not in the when you learn like big O, but for this one, maybe if you want to be a developer or something, if you do the interview for like advanced like senior level of developer, you need to able to tell when you implement your source code. Worst case is always called the nested for loop, and so always n squared. So actually different standard answer. Okay, I always can propose a n squared solution. I like 2 for loop, but always we go for the like better n log n, if you know n log n or something. But it's not we talking about here. So when we talk about mapping, so it's like one of the caching. There's one more is called set. Really similar. So we call we have one is called map and then one is called a set. Set using the name we have keyword new and then set. So when we set will be more like right here set, and then we will add the value. So just like don't confuse, like we use the met set to add the new value, okay? And then we using get. And also we met dot size to get the size, like how many items saving in this met caching. And then for set, we're using add to add a value. So this one without the header attribute. So we just like saving the value inside. So we need to know, okay, maybe I use this set is to save some numbers. So you can save the numbers right here. And then when you add, will be add behind of it. And then you can use the function sometimes to using has. So do I have this one? Also, it's a concept using caching. Is like if I have this one, that I don't have to go for the for loop and then search one by one. So this one also has the same big O1, same efficiency. Okay.
So with that, is it just like simple data types or can you put objects?
Yes. Yeah. But we are using testing like for string and maybe some numbers or string. But when we go like save an object, because we need to have this exactly object, and then we check like do we has this object, and then maybe we need to change. But it's okay. Like for design we can, okay. But most time we will save value, like most of the time. Yeah. But really depends on how you use it. Okay, yeah. I cannot say yes, we are first doing this way. Okay. And then another one concept we are using a lot is using a class. When you learn, we talk about Java OO concept. So actually for JavaScript, we do apply this concept. So we just like use the keyword class and then give it the name. And we create a constructor, right? So it's the same, just put a constructor parameter. So maybe you have multiple constructor. Yes, we can do it. And also we have the function. So just declare the function and we have the log and then we will pass. And most of the time we were using the keyword this, like pointing to this object. So we get the name. So it will be right here. So let's say if we need to declare the new class, we're using equal sign and new and pass the parameters, and then we can call the function. And we are able to get it. So here's the syntax. How can we create objects and handle with it? And another one you will see a lot is like you will know the promise. Like in the other codes, we have the promise. So it's just like eventually like commission of a synchronized operation. Question?
Oh, sorry, back to the classes. So where do the class variables go? Is that in the constructor? Because the name and age in the constructor are parameters. But where is the actual person name and age?
You can maybe if you want, you can declare right here a path like, yeah, it's the same, but I skip it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yeah, it's the same syntax. Yeah, exactly same. Yeah. And then for the promise, just like for asynchronous. So we need to wait for return, especially when you try to fetch the data, we need to wait, we save the data. Yes. And then if we don't wait for it and execute next instruction, then we get empty, and then always we get a like null data. So just like be careful when you're working on your project and you need to post the data to a server or get the data from the server. Remember to use asynchronous or something working with the promise. If you don't, then you always like every time you get a null items, it's empty. It's like why every time when my load is empty, then you need to look at it. Did you wait for the return value? Okay. And then one we call the symbols. So the symbol is like just like you need an immutable data type. So we use that for object like property key. Also we you need hidden identifier. So what's this one? So let's say I create the person, have a name, last name, age, like all these eye colors. If I want to give it an ID, then I'm using the called the symbol. So right here, declare the symbol and then put the square bracket just like array and add the ID and then put it. aside. So right now you can see the person ID is like this. You can see the ID, but if you using dot ID, you're not able to get it. So that's how the symbol works. It exists, we create, but you cannot access this value directly. So it's being like hidden. Okay. So it's the how we use the symbol. And also we have something called a default parameter. Okay, so the parameter is like we can set it. If you know, we will put the parameter right here, right? Inside the bracket when we create the arrow function or like vector function. When we put the equal sign, and then we will put it right and equals the value. So if I let's say I want to put the name and then equal sign equals to guest. If I don't put if I don't pass any variable, then I will put it as a default. By default would be guest. So pass it. So you don't have to input anything. But if you did, then I will get your parameter, like input parameter, change it. Okay. Then you ask, can it be a string or anything? Yes. It can be anything. So if you pass it as an object, maybe object, or like if you pass it as a number. So it depends on your function or what kind of data you need to handle. And then you already learned the called the rest parameter. So that one I dot, but also for the function, let's say like this, so we will get the remaining like function arguments. You see this one. Here the example, let's say I create a function called the concatenate. Okay, I put a separator and then string. So this one, so string I convert it as a one letter by letter, and then this string I would join it. John, I didn't tell was John yet, but who is John? But later for like reduce John, all those string function, later I will cover it. Okay. So when we try to join the operator, so we will try to concatenate this one. So when I have a comma, right? Comma right here, I joining by this operator, the separator. So it will become like hello and then ES6 like this, and joining them together with the comma. So you will see. So the return message will be like this. Okay. And let's say I have let's say I put the argument passing here. There's a whole array, and then let's say I have a sum, and then I can using for let of, right? If you remember the for of, and then I will pass the argument right here to the sum, and then return a value. So once I pass the sum value, I have multiple inputs. So let's say I don't know how many input. Also, it's how it works like for the this like programming language is that if I need to handle, I don't know how many of course we can pass as an array, a list, whatever is okay. If you need to pass something like this, or like you need to concatenate two arrays together individually, then you can do it in this way. So using dog and then right here arguments, so we can concatenate like this one. You can do it as an array, and then return a value. So just the same function type. So when we have a multi-line function like this, and return save it into X. So here's the return value. So far we will go through all this by detail. So that's what we remember. We have the let and cons, arrow function, the shorting, the spread and west operator for loop, for the mapping and set. I think you maybe use it for caching. Maybe you need it, and then maybe you need to create a class when you create an object like products, people, user profile, maybe. And promise we need to using for the asynchronization and symbols and default. Okay, and I think I already upload. Maybe I'm not yet upload a sample function. Okay. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. But for this one, pretty simple syntax. I don't think you really need the sample code or for this one. You can refer. And I will also recommend if you need to use if you get example, AI can help you or like Google document or ESX W3 school. So they all have like this similar structure. So you can refer to it and always try. I say, maybe you look at it, you maybe have no idea like what's this one doing. But I think the pretty common you use like maybe you passing the function, and also you will use the map, and for loop arrow function you allot constants. Yeah. So far will be the lecture part will be like this. Do you have any question about your programming server? Yeah, I will spend some time to make sure that you all able to create your API server. Because last time we stopped like connecting your API server, right? Do you have any question about that one?
So we do it when we want to work with it, right? And we do the npm on build, which gives us that static,
Mhm.
the build thing.
Mhm.
Then you put that build folder into on your server.
Yeah.
And then where we put that folder is where we specify in the sites available.
Inside your configuration, inside the sites available. So you will see the root, right? So the root of your, let's say your the Nginx will be the, so you have the I give you the, like check the Nginx site available slash, maybe here's your file names. Okay. If you remember, we have the root, right? Okay, so that's one I asked you to declare maybe CSCI 380 is your, so if you declare this one is your root folder, then you need to put your build all the files like inside your build. So it's not like extra represent all the files. You need to upload to your SRV CSCI CI 380. Okay. Then Nginx know to how to fetch the index file. Okay. Yeah. And also you need to make sure yeah, because recording, so you can check. Okay. So make sure your API server either you, most of the time you're running like for testing, you don't want to let it running forever. You can use like knock and then maybe call the I don't know the location where you put maybe CSCI 380 / API / index dot. It depends on how you create the name, maybe like this. So you will see it's like server running on localhost 3000, right? Okay. So refer to the Nginx. You will see the file. That one is called the location / API. So this one will be doing the proxy server, like forward to your localhost 3000. So this one is your API server. Okay. And just make sure it's working. And I recommend one of the package one is called PM2. I think I show it PM2. So we can let it running as a service. Then you don't have to like occupy one of the terminal. Because once you execute like node and API server or index.js, it will host your terminal. You need to create a new one and do the testing. Okay. So if you don't want to and let this server service like API server like running forever or the client forever, then you can using like PM2 and then you can like start and then put the path. Let's say if you put the file in the like PM2 SRV CSCI 380 and then API server index.js, and sometimes I will use a parameter called the name. So I give a name. So this name can help us or help me to know. Okay, so if you don't put it, it will be like the path of your file. So sometimes I don't want to have a like maybe I say CSCI 380. So I know this is the API for this subject, and then I will put the call watch. Like watch is like I will keep checking the modif. Once you modify and save it, so it will reload it. So you don't have to like stop the service and then restart again. And if you want, you can also add one more called a save. Save that one maybe sometimes when we restart or service terminate, it won't execute. So you need to like start one more time. But once you save it, so once we start the PM2, then it will automatically load this one. So it will start this service again. Okay, so it's optional. You can do it or no. If you don't want to let your server like without enough protection, you don't want to running it, then you can just start it when you need it. You can stop it when you not using for development. Okay, so it's good. So far will be everything for your project or you need to know. For the first submission, you also need to build a file, and yeah, perfect. Source code also you need to build it. Okay. Later maybe next week. After the lab, I will show you how to show you one more time how to build it. But actually, it's really easy. Yeah, just like MPA one build, just done. So you just wait for it. So it's not hard to build a static file. Yeah. Maybe, but you ask like, how can you upload those files? Right? Maybe you have a question, and anybody knows, or like, how can we do that?
Like there's a better way than like making files and.
Of course, yeah, that one's like not really. If you're using the terminal, we call it SCP. So you can remember. I'm not telling you this one in this moment. So SCP is like copying the source file to your server. So you need to let's say from your local host here some files, everything, and then you need to connect to your, let's say, Ubuntu and then your IP address or DNS, and then which directory like this. Okay, this is one way. Another way is download software. So if you know, I think it's called the FileZilla, I think. So it's one of the pretty common software. You can like, if you want to edit, I didn't tell you to do that. It's free. You can use the called the FileZilla, so you can download it and connect to your server. So you can view everything as a file. So let me show you. I have multiple I have so many servers right here. So let's say this one is my for teaching, right? Okay. And I connect to it, and I wish it's working. And no, it's too slow. Okay, I can show you other server. Okay, let's say I have another server. Okay. Okay. It's not exactly the same UI because they're different software, but you can able to see the structure of your server. So every time when you try to create files under SRV, so SRV right here, I'm running a website right here. So you see that all the files, probably HTML, the structure. So right here, okay. Or if you check the etc Nginx will be right here. Okay. So when you every time working on the available, it's available. So this file. So I want the file right here. You see the files under the owner root and group. So if I can open it, but I cannot edit it. Yeah, for this one, if I have a permission, then I'm allowed to do that, like edit it from this text editor, save it. So you need to give yourself some permission, or kind of recommend like you maybe edit on your home. Like home is your own user file, so you can edit directly, upload it, and then you can using the CP like copy this file to the engine. Because I tell you you edit the sites available directly. Actually, it's not in practical. It's not recommended to do it. Okay. I will recommend you like create a copy, and then once you confirm it's okay, you can copy this file to available and then link it to your enable, doing it this way. But just like for practical, like fast, so you can do it. Okay. So you're just like learning. So just do whatever you like. Okay. All right. First, I know everything. What instead of memorize like everything right here, I wish you can understood what we are doing and whole structure. When you like based on the web programming, then you will have a better idea, know what is the system design analysis. Actually, this part already complete part of it. So we the website is the web server. So also we can think about the client, like your desktop access the website, right? So we learn about the API server, yeah, and then also the database. We need to decide our database, and so what's the relationship between all these things, like each components, like to build a whole system. And if once you build a mobile app is same, we have the API server, we have the database, then we can connect to it. So here's the same idea. Okay. And keep talking the things. And I think so far will be that's it for the class. And let's see if any question. No. Okay.
So, cause now when I run the website.